What is up, everyone? My name is Kyle. I am with Danny. This is Edited Truth. It's Anime Expo weekend, Danny. I am sunburnt and I'm toasty. I don't feel good. I'm tired. I'm tired from walking and smelling all the weebs.
You're lethargically crisp?
Lethargically crisp, so some would say. Um, but we're going to talk a little bit about Anime Expo in a little bit. We got some
Nice.
news. We got some Anime Expo news. We got some regular news. Good, bad, and the ugly. We got that. But we're going to, in light of Anime Expo weekend, we're going to talk about 90s anime. We're going to talk about
Right.
some early stuff. Some early stuff before the pewter. That computer took over everything in our lives.
You had to watch like VHS, like
I love the
copies
90s.
of of weird anime rips.
Oh, man.
Someone
Yeah.
recorded off of Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh yeah, those are always good. Those
yeah,
those
of course.
random bootleg VHSs are good for sure. Let's talk about. We got no cringe videos this week, unfortunately.
Oh, what a
Let's get
tragedy.
into the news, though. We're getting into the news.
All right.
You miss them, Danny? Do you miss the videos?
Oh, you know it, man.
Okay.
I don't get that
You
regularly
gotta
enough.
feed
and
off
just
the cringe.
the world going out into it and seeing it. And you just got to add more. You got to
Yeah.
pile it on like a pile of red diamonds. Thanks.
Let's talk about some. Let's talk about some tech news first.
Okay.
So,
What's going on in
there's
tech
a
world?
guy named Jeff Geerling who essentially is pointing out he's pretty big in the kind of the what is it called, the Raspberry Pi community. He
Oh.
contributes to like kernels and stuff like that. So
He's a pie chef. Okay.
yeah, so he's really big into it, and lately he's been pointing out been the one that pointed this out first, but essentially Red Hat Enterprise Linux once
Red Hat.
the
I did see that.
prized software at one point, a good operating system, is now beholden to its shareholders. So essentially they made a statement saying that more or less the upstream development community is what did he say? What was the word exactly? I think it was like leechers or like
Was it derogatory?
it was
negative, or just
derogatory.
The general, the
Yeah, it
community
was
as
just
a
like they're
general?
bums more or less, and which is dumb because they're all contributing probably more than a lot of other people.
Well, it's
and
a lot
this
of
is
chaos, but yeah, you can't.
this is and it's weird saying that from the Linux community because
Yeah.
they're definitely not like, you don't usually see this type of behavior out of it. But that's what happens when more things get popular.
They're
I
literally
guess.
pushing for a paywall on open source code.
Yeah,
That seems like a bad idea.
yeah, and it runs under the GPL license, I believe. So I think it's technically legal. It's just a very dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the
Yeah,
GPL license.
it's-
Okay.
Well, okay. That seems kind of shitty for Red Hat. What a fucking tank to that legacy.
Yeah, and things like I believe CentOS and some others are kind of upstream in the kind of Red Hat, I guess, ecosystem. So
Yeah.
those new operating systems are now kind of compromised. And if
Oh, shit.
anyone uses Ansible to distribute, like do like if you have like a network of servers and you want to distribute commands to them like a cluster almost, you want to create a cluster, you'd use Ansible. They're responsible for that. So people are like, should we even bother using this anymore? It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
It's
because
a
it has a
nightmare.
ripple effect throughout the community.
Yeah.
And
So that
Red Hat has that legacy of always being like a free alternative
yeah.
operating system for like maintaining networks. And it's when I was in college, when we had to take like networking classes, there was stuff about like different OSs, but Red Hat was the one where they were like, oh yeah, look at this, it's real simple for
Yeah.
networking, it's really ubiquitous in the community, like you can get anything for it, it's no problem with like hardware. So for it to be now remembered as this thing that people have to pay for in
Yeah.
the Linux world is gross.
Yeah.
The day Red Hat sold out.
Yeah, it's a sellout moment for sure. Unfortunate. Let's move on to some entertainment news. John Stamos says Ryan Gosling helped him own being a Disney adult. That kind of turned the corner for me. According to Hollywood Reporter, the Full House actor also owned up about the impact Disney had on him. When you go through those gates, the rest of the world goes away. Now, I don't give a shit about the rest of the article. My question to you, Danny, is what is your opinion on Disney adults? Adults.
I thought we were skipping the cringe segment.
So okay, yeah, this is welcome to. Wait, hold on. I got this.
Oh, he's kind of queued up with his.
Here we go.
You dunk it. There we go. Oh my.
There we go.
Okay, all right. If I have to look at this from the perspective of knowing that Ryan Gosling was like Mickey Mouse Club kid growing up, like Justin Timberlake and all these other people that it destroyed yet somehow made more famous at the same time. But good for John Stamos for still popping up in things. I mean,
for existing, for just existing. Good on you, Stamos. You're living. You're being a person. You have matter that is, and you have a consciousness that is attached to that matter.
He doesn't do anything, but he still comes up.
What is Stamos up to?
Articles.
Yeah, what is Stamos up to these days?
Interesting to me anymore now that Bob Saget died, because the stories that he would tell with him and Stamos hanging out were great. But I mean, John Stamos can't tell those stories from the other perspective. He's not interesting to listen to. Yeah. He served his purpose as like a physical person, just on Full House.
Yeah. I don't. I feel I used to in my 20s when I was living in Orange County.
Okay.
Had an annual pass. We're gonna hear a lot of fireworks. There's nothing we can do about that one.
It's literally about to be fireworks city.
Yeah. I did have a season pass for a year, and it was fun. It was nice to go on like dates with my girlfriend at the time. Just not even ride anything. Just go like eat or something.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Something
and hang out. But the more I think about it, and I only did it for a year. I kind of got over it. I didn't like renew it. But the more I think about it, I feel like I'm getting in the way of people that should be having more fun than me.
I don't want to take up space.
I don't want to take up space. Like I don't hate people for liking it. I hate people. No, I don't even hate people. It's just more that like, don't stop. Let these like shitty kids do their thing.
Let them have it.
Just let them do.
It's not your
fun.
scene.
Yeah,
you're not feeling.
It's not my scene, bro.
Yeah.
Bro,
it's not your scene,
bro.
No,
No.
There's not enough mascots. It's just not working for you.
So I've changed. I've changed in my 30s. I am less of a pro Disney adult movement, unfortunately.
I mean, what is it going to be for Stamos when he's a Disney grandpa?
Oh yeah,
we're gonna circle back, and he's still relevant.
Right. What is he? Yeah. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do then?
Is he still with Rebecca Romaine? Or they,
Stamos?
Like,
no,
yeah,
I don't.
I think so. Right? Yeah.
I don't think so.
I wonder. Huh.
Ooh,
he could still be with Mystique. That'd be cool.
Mystique. No, he was with the dude from Stand By Me, the fat kid. Remember that when they were married?
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jerry O'Connell.
Wait, they got married?
Yeah,
Jerry Rebecca
O'Connell.
John Stamos.
John Stamos, Jerry O'Connell. They got married. They went up to Canada. It was a good time. It was a good Canadian time. What's Jerry O'Connell up to these days?
He shows up in like TV shows all the time. He'll take like 2 years off, and then he'll be in a single run season of something. And that's it. They rebooted the Munsters one time, and he was like, Herman Munster was bad.
Herman Munster.
He's just Jerry O'Connell, just with like maybe a bolt or two in his neck or something. It was really bad. It's really fucking bad. I love Sliders, damn it.
That's funny.
How good was Sliders? Speaking of the 90s.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah, let's hijack this. This is top 5
this
Sliders episodes.
Top 5 right Sliders. Let's do this. The time they slid, loved it.
False question. Every episode is a top 5 episode. Yeah, that was good too. They introduced his twin by saying he was an alternate reality Jerry O'Connell.
No.
They just wrote him in.
Let's move on to some Anime Expo news. So yesterday, first day of Anime Expo, Bandai Namco had their summer showcase panel, and we got to see some interesting things. Bat and Kaitos.
I haven't seen that in years. Oh my god!
So
It's a remaster.
It's a remaster. They're doing a
okay.
remaster of Bat and Kaitos.
Okay.
Were you a big fan of it?
I mean, I liked it. I would prefer they just make like a third one or something. Like everybody's remastering.
So
everything.
they're remastering that. I'd just rather see Xenoblade or Xenogears or Xeno.
You're right.
Something.
I mean, if we're gonna dive down in the Namco roster, yeah, there's a lot better things. I mean, that was still a cool thing because that was more modern. That wasn't as old as some of the RPGs that they pulled from.
Nintendo Power said it's possibly the most beautiful GCN title ever made.
Oh.
Rest in peace, Nintendo Power.
Oh, I was about to say. I was like, what the fuck did they pull that from?
That was from 2000 and like whenever this came out.
Yeah,
2003.
the original cut, but not the remaster. Okay.
Nintendo Power ended around 2012, I think.
Yeah, it's been a decade.
Yeah. Amongst Bat and Kaitos, they also announced a new game from Akira Toriyama's artwork and manga, Sandland. So this looks like an adventure action game. There's a lot of vehicles involved and whatnot.
But they have that Dragon Ball vehicle design.
They do have that like weird Dragon Ball vehicle
like
design. Very bubbly stuff.
Yeah.
Round, soft edges. So it looks cool. You read the manga back in the day, right?
Sandland? No,
you didn't read
it. I read Dr. Slump.
Dr. Slump,
and,
okay.
Majin Neko and
got it.
Things that usually circle back.
I didn't read it either. But it's apparently, son of Lucifer hanging out in the desert. It's like a reverse Waterworld, essentially. They're trying to find water instead of trying to find dry land. Essentially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got some Mad Max Waterworld things.
Or water's not a myth. I've seen it.
Water's not a myth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would check it out.
So
is it going to be single player?
It looks like an open world, kind of action adventure thing. Yeah.
Maybe if it's got co-op or something.
Yeah, if that's cool, that'd be cool. I doubt it.
Oh shit!
Let's be real. But the big slap that I mentioned to you yesterday is that at the end of it, everyone was super excited, and they went, "You could go play this at Comic-Con, not at the con you're at now. At Comic-Con.
If you just leave and go to Comic-Con, you all just get
fuck
up right
you.
now and walk
go to
away.
another con, waste like $1,000 of your money.
You trying to honeypot me to con, and you just get one level, and then at Comic-Con they're like, and if you come back in 2 months, another level.
And right when they were about to end it, they did that one more thing, a little Steve Jobs thing, one more thing. And when people expected, what could it be? A new Ace Combat? Could it be a new Budokai Tenkaichi 4? That was announced, but no one knows what's happening with that. They were expecting a new Dragon Ball game.
So you think they get a trailer or something?
Right? You're gonna get something? Something? No. What the public got was Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. It's
a Ninja Storm game.
It's a Ninja Storm game.
Yeah.
It's a Ninja Storm game.
Yeah,
There's nothing... I think it's 2v2. I guess that's a little different.
No, Ninja Storm's 2v2. You're talking about
Ninja
Gekko Ninja Tyson.
3v3, isn't it?
No, Gekko Ninja Tyson is the 4-on-4 one. Ninja Storm's just for duels.
But you have the
you get support.
2 supports.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll have it's the Marvel's Capcom like approach.
Yeah. So
assists.
I don't know. Maybe this will be good. This everyone says I have it. I still haven't went through all of Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's kind of middle.
I wasn't feeling it. I'm gonna try again.
Great,
I'm gonna try again on Halloween. It seems like that'd be the better time to watch it.
I wasn't. Yeah. So maybe I don't know. But like most of these games that Bandai Namco makes, the third one will probably be good.
Yes, I mean, if we want to break down the whole life cycle of these games, they come out. The first one is like interesting and entertaining, but it's got flaws, and then the second one starts to polish that, but introduces too many new things to truly perfect what they tried to fix on the first one, and then the third one they finally start to get that right, and by the fourth one they just padded out the roster. Yeah, you really don't get a change by like the fourth or fifth game. Yeah. Nothing notable. If anything, they make the things that are not working go away. And you get kind of a slim down game by like the fourth one, but I don't care about the series enough to kind of invest in that.
No, that's the thing. I'm not.
When this game comes out 5 years from now, or the sequel,
right? The third one, or whatever that is. Who knows?
We're still waiting on that, like the good version of the One Punch Man game. So,
but ultimately, pretty low low-hanging fruit. Nothing really eventful or exciting from their video game panel, which is very unfortunate at this point. Are they just saving it all up for Comic-Con, I imagine?
I really feel like they don't polish any of their games. I think it's just how they approach their game release. We talk about this all the time, how they gatekeep the content, so the quality of their games suffer because they got us by the balls.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not getting these games anywhere else, so we don't have to try that hard. Blind man.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mentioned this, if you go to freespeechgeek.com, you could read our article on this. We do mention, like, it's not good for one company to have all the things.
That's not a good paradigm.
It's not good. Like, when they control all the, essentially, anime IPs, and all you get is Bandai Namco games, that's, you're just going to get what you were getting, which is these, like, middling, buggy, very unpolished products.
Let's put it this way. You play a Ninja Storm game from, like, any generation, and it'll all be relatively similar, but then you go and play, like, that Ubisoft Naruto game.
Right.
It's radically different.
So
Nothing
different.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's what you get. Even if you don't like it or you do like it, it's still different.
It's
like,
new. It's refreshing. It's not the same
I'd like that
thing
so
over
much.
and over again.
Or just that watered down version. You could still even be. I just want a better version of what they're giving you. That's all. And you get that when you get competition. So like you eventually kind of they take like from when you're competing and you're like, I like what that one company did, but I think we could do this more radical and add to that.
Yeah.
So that kind of it livens up the development community. But because of this, it's stagnant. They fucking sit over there and they laugh.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but I'll play some of them. Not all of them.
Oh, you guarantee?
I mean,
what else can I?
Just give me a new Ace Combat game. Give me a new Ace Combat game, and I'll be satisfied.
No, I want to get new Gecko Ninja game.
So that
I just want one of them.
We're never getting that again.
No,
That's done.
Yeah,
That's
those were the
done.
best.
Yeah,
More people.
I know.
Just
I loved it so much.
So great.
So good.
Such chaos.
So good. So that was yesterday at Anime Expo. Today we had Bandai Namco Filmworks announce a new Mobile Suit Gundam show, Danny.
Yeah, you see.
Which for Mercury essentially wrapped up this weekend, and they did not wait. They're all like, "We're done here. Let's do a new one." Like we don't have to wait 5 years, regardless if you like them or not. You don't have to wait 5 years.
Switch Mercury's done, or is there gonna be another?
Done. It said at the end, "This concludes the story of Witch from Mercury."
All right.
It is done.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess in probably about a few weeks or so, I'll probably jump into it, so I can now just watch it all.
That'll be that'll be a part of it. We'll talk about that in the good, bad, and the ugly.
Okay. Cool. All right. Interesting.
So yeah, new Mobile Suit Gundam show. Actually, sorry, I don't even know. We don't know. Just project. Movie.
Well, they said that it was going to be akin to like Thunderbolt and 8th MS Team. Which that's some of the best Gundam.
So it's called Mobile Suit Gundam Requiem for Vengeance.
Requiem for Vengeance Dream.
Yes.
You have to shoot up heroin to pilot your mobile suit.
Yes, of course. So this is made not the creative team is entirely Western creative. So we have a German artist and director. How do you pronounce this, Danny? Erasmus Brosdow?
Actually, you're right. Yeah, Erasmus Brosdow or Dow.
Yeah, so he'll be directing, and we have Gavin Hignite. He's written Tekken Bloodline, Transformers Cyberverse, Star Wars Resistance.
I've seen Tekken Bloodline.
Yeah, and we're gonna get of course the character designers, the mechanical designers, and the producer are Japanese. We got Nohito Ogata. Who is just coming off of Wish from Mercury. Apparently he was supposed to be at this panel, but he couldn't make it because he's dealing with the finale of his show. Currently. So yeah, this is going to take place during the 1 Year War. It's going to take place on the side of Zeon, specifically like a ragtag team of Zaku pilots, like from the cockpit type of experience, kind of like Thunderbolt, but specifically Zaku's, I guess.
And I imagine actual probably novice.
Like grunts. They're going to be grunts.
Yeah, because the Thunderbolt crew, they were all veterans, but they were like wounded veterans.
Wounded, yes, exactly.
But they're veterans. They were hard.
Yeah,
These
they
are
were
I imagine
hard.
these to help you sympathize more with the Xeon side. They're gonna make them like real green soldiers that you kind of build with.
Yeah.
And if they build with them in the way they did if they build a team of Xeon like centric group of people that are akin to like what happened on White Base with Amuro and Bright and all like Salem Mass and all those
Yeah,
people.
just create
Hayato
another
and have like a Xeon Hayato
thing. Yeah, there's hundreds of
Oh,
ships.
that would be so, and like just pocket that in out of nowhere. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with mining out content in that way.
There's so much that had, like, you think about, like, billions, hundreds almost probably billions of people have died in this, and there's so many ships. What's the story of each ship? You could tell a story of what's going on in this crew, what's going on with this crew. The 1 Year War
Well, just even
could just
having
be fleshed out so much more.
From the Xeon side, they rarely do that. I mean, it's happened in Thunderbolt, but that's a rarity. And that's new, relatively.
That is relatively new.
Yeah, compared to the whole Gundam franchise. Things like in the fucking November of that thing.
I guess Origin, technically.
No, because Char's not. You don't sympathize with Casseval. You don't.
Sure.
You don't. And as he transforms into the people he devours, like it goes south for him. So like you get a good origin and that's cool, but this isn't an origin. This isn't a prequel essentially. This is more of a just you could watch these in tandem.
Yes, exactly. And the final note of this is that it's all being created inside of Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
So that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to go with like what they're doing currently with all the new stuff in the CG, or is it going to be completely new, like high res? Are they going to take all of Unreal 5 and max it out to its extremes?
Well, this is the thing that makes me excited. You have people who have background in Thunderbolt and Witcher Mercury. You have people who have background in Cowboy Bebop and Escaflowne. Like, those character designs are influencing what's going to be done in the Unreal, like, design.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I have faith. It won't be MS Igloo, so I think we'll be okay.
Ah, Igloo. Oh boy. It was
That's
unfortunate because like
CG
it was
worse than Cuckoo's Down.
It was somewhat interesting, but like that CG was just so hard to look at.
It's a great premise because you want to know, and it's so horrible.
Yeah.
It's like a bad PS2 cutscene.
So yeah, that's what's happening. We got more Gundam.
Yeah.
We got more Gundam.
It's a Gundam.
It's a Gundam. Speaking of new Gundam, we're not done. This was announced.
Oh, what have you done?
Yeah,
you piece of shit.
Danny, we're coming back. This was announced yesterday, 2 days ago, or yesterday. We got this movie was supposed to come out a long time ago, I think. Gundam Seed Freedom, Danny. Gundam Seed Freedom. It's happening. It is happening.
Why can't it die? Why can't it go away?
But it's also we just like came off of Cuckoo's Dawn. It
doesn't matter.
It updated itself a little bit.
There's nothing.
Story-wise,
I want to flip this table.
I want to flip this table.
I almost flipped my
He's
chair, but I was
angry. He's
comfy.
raging. He's raging, Danny.
My comfort level didn't overwhelm me.
We were happy talking about UC lifestyle, the Universal Century.
Hand is like gripping the
I was
seat.
like, bam, Cosmic Era.
I was so happy.
Cosmic Era, bitch. It's coming out.
It was like a good day with someone, and in the end, they sexually assault you, and you're like, what is this?
It's coming out January of next year, 2024. So that is exciting.
Why can't they kill Seed? Seed is just...
They love it. People love it.
I hate it
People
so much.
love it
more than
so
anything I've ever watched in the Gundam universe.
It's not great.
It's
not great.
Not even like... I don't know what's fair.
I don't mind seeing. Destiny is a travesty. That should be like
should never
fucking...
happen. How dare they say that they can reboot Universal Century and do it better? Do it better, whatever.
Look at these.
Undo Char's
Oh,
counterattack.
look, he doesn't have a
audacity.
pointy chin anymore. I want his pointy chin back. Give me that, like, early artwork pointy chin on Jesus.
Fucking
Yamato.
bullshit entitlement do you think you point
All right,
Jesus chin out?
We'll move on. Yeah, he's getting way too angry. He's getting way too riled up. All right, so moving on to Comic-Con, which is in 20-ish days. we have Marvel just pulled out of Hall H of this year, and it seems this is coming off the backs of them pushing back all their dates of their movies. We got Secret Wars coming out in 2027 now, Danny. It looks like Jonathan Majors might not be a fucking abuser, and that might still be up in the air, so who knows what's happening. Nobody knows.
Weird.
Blade hasn't been... Blade was supposed to be in production by now, and
So they're
still...
all the way scaled back out of Comic Con. They're not like being Comic Con.
I'm sure they're gonna have a presence.
In like
it's just Hall H presence.
No, that's what I mean. They're not doing any.
No
like,
panels.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Weird.
Nothing. I don't know
Weird.
what's going on.
I've never seen
there.
that before. Even like last like 15 years.
Well, they pulled out like a couple years ago. Everyone pulled out because they're just all like, "We'll do it ourselves."
Well, yeah, when the pandemic, but I assume now they were still wanting to come back and do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess they're just. It's like why E3 died. So. It's just having a similar
poor
effect.
E3. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That was canceled this year as well. They're just like, fuck it.
Yeah,
Why bother?
They thought they could come back, and they realized that they never needed to come back for like almost like 10 years now.
Yeah.
I was still surprised when they were like, "Yeah, E3 2016," and I'm like, "Why?
No.
Well, isn't this more expensive for you companies? Like Nintendo just does their own thing now. Everybody does their own thing now.
Everybody does their own.
Everyone's got their own con.
Thing. Yeah.
YetiCon 2023.
Yeah, I think that wraps up our news. Unless you want to talk about John Stamos a little bit more?
No. I mean, as long as we don't talk about Seed
I was going to say, you want me to go back to Gundam Seed Freedom? We can go back? I could do it.
We could do an easy 30 minutes on Stamos. Let's do that. No Seed, please.
No more Seed
it just doesn't,
Danny.
It's just the universe century is such a high water mark.
Let's get into it then. It's time.
We have a tween, like, redrew Starry Night.
We got a tumbleweed going through here. You know what time it is, Danny?
Oh, I think I know what time it is.
Oh, yeah. It is time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, so... What? I'm starting.
Okay.
So, honestly, all of my things are goods this week. I have 3 goods, so I'm going to do 1 good. I'll let you go, and then I'll do my other goods.
Oh, okay.
My
we'll line it up. Okay.
My third good... Actually, yeah. My third good is going to be something that I think is good, but you're going to be like, you're an idiot. It's one of those movies where I'm like, I just love it. Oh, I love it. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
We'll see.
All right. So my first good is, of course, we just mentioned it earlier, which from Mercury. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the overall season. It ended with a happy ending. That's kind of rare.
Oh, that is surprising.
Yeah.
Considering how the show progressed.
Like I said, I would have loved to see this a little shorter because it felt a little rushed at the end. But at the beginning, remember the first season was literally just playing at a school. And it took till like the last 3 episodes of season 1 to finally pick up what the actual, like, what's going on? Where are the pawns moving?
Do you think that the whole like school backdrop was like a nod back to a lot of that like 80s and early 90s mecha anime, like how they do a lot of nods to like the more galactic, like female centric animes from like the later 80s, and a lot of that stuff, like maybe they took that idea of like this, like kind of Ava has the school and like everything kind of has that. Maybe that's more of a trope, and that's why they leaned on it more. Did that feel? Because did it feel like organic, or did it still feel kind of weird? It's more like it was like a plot device or like a gimmick. Like a lampoon, even.
It didn't play too big of a role, honestly. But it set up the fact that the school's run by essentially these kind of corporate entities, and that essentially you're kind of like an entrepreneur that goes into one of these companies, and you work for one of these companies, or you create your own company, which is what the main character did, essentially. So, and then you're like financed by certain people. It's all like very like corporate driven.
Yeah,
in this.
There's a lot of shows that will do that with the whole like build your organization. Even Iron Blood Orphan, they kind of had that, but with their mercenary organization.
Yeah. But it was good. It was fine. One thing, the actual Gundams are minimal. Honestly, it's not.
Designs are.
It's there. Like that's the one thing about I guess the first season is it sets up the duels at the school. So each episode there's like a duel, and you get to see 2 people fight.
Okay.
Or sometimes it's 3v3 or like a team.
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't really too much.
I saw that clip with the
going
beam you
on.
told me about. I watched
Yeah.
that. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, it's
So they
also
did
it's
that.
the quintessential. That's why I thought when you mentioned the school, it was meant to be more of a trope.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot of pastiching going on throughout the series.
I'm trying to I'm trying to
Illusions.
think of the it has to be because there's not too much of a purpose outside of setting up that essential plot point. So
Yeah.
I imagine it could
They
very
just
much,
shoehorned it in as like
very
a way.
much well be
They laugh about it.
prestige,
They're like,
yeah.
yeah, fuck it. They're also it's school drama. It still
Yeah.
manages to be a Japanese high school drama.
Yeah.
in its core. Okay.
But at the end, essentially, remember, it's kind of like Gundam X in a way, where the main Gundam, we had Ariel, who was controlled by the little girl in the prequel episode. The whole time you think you're following the same girl from the prequel to the original, it's actually
There's a fake out.
it's her sister.
It's the G Gundam fake out. I'm your brother.
And
Racer X.
she's essentially in what they call, their version is called the Data Storm.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
that's her space her space force ghost thing.
Yeah,
Essentially,
her
yeah.
Ghost in the Shell, sentient content.
But it was
digital consciousness.
wasn't Gundam X the one where the Gundam could take over other kind of Gundams, right? Was that one, or was it which one?
Gundam X was the one where they used the moonbeam, right? Where they would he would open up the X,
yeah.
and it was the panels, and it was the moonlight, and I always thought that was a different timeline.
But
besides Universal Century.
Essentially, the Ariel can access the data storm and essentially control all Gundams around her.
Oh, like hack
more or
the
less.
AI and control the AI.
But then they had that moment with the solar ray, and she protected their mom, and she was dying as a little digital consciousness being, and then of course she eventually transferred her funnels, or they call them gun bits in this, good old gun bits, to
Weird.
her new unit. So she was at the final 3 episodes, she got control of this unit called the Calibarn.
Oh.
And then, so with her, the Calibarn attached to the aerial gun bits makes the new flashy gunplay unit that's probably going to sell out in the next 3 weeks or whenever they release it.
Oh.
But yeah,
big
it created
marketing
this new super Gundam with cool funnels and stuff. It wasn't too bad, but still not great.
Yeah, because the overall designs were pretty weak. There were only a few that stood out like that were
Yeah.
whoa, that's cool. But yeah, I'll definitely still check it out. What did you like it? I guess the most recent one before that would be Iron Blooded Orphan.
Yes, and I still haven't gone through all of it. I'm still working my way.
Oh, so you haven't seen the final episode?
Yes.
But
Yeah,
you do. Oh, okay.
I am getting into it. I've started 5 shows. I
dangerous.
I've been doing Turn A. I did
You're
what was it?
beating yourself up.
F91.
That one's
And
good, but
then
that's a
I'm just-
movie though, right?
Yeah, that one's easier. But I was just trying to see what videos to make for
Oh, for your new
yeah.
simply new type.
yeah.
content,
So but yeah, I'm just all over the place. I can't stick with anything right now.
You're too inundated.
Unfortunately, oh yeah. So yeah, that's my first good for the week. Go ahead, Danny. Let's hear yours.
Let me kick us off with my good is the Darren Aronofsky joint, The Wrestler,
The
starring
Wrestler.
Mickey Rourke. It
So
came out
good.
back in 2008.
Yes.
You and Chris had recommended it to me. I had kind of panned the idea of watching it because it seemed like it was kind of silly, it took itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched The Fighter later on, and I liked that movie a lot, and I started getting kind of similar vibes from it when hearing you, Chris, talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I dived into it, and it was just as good
Yeah.
as The Fighter. I loved it. It was tragic, but also kind of entertaining. It had its dark comedy moments while also still being a drama in its own way.
Right.
Mickey Rourke is amazing in
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
To a point where it was captivating how well he fit the role and played it and chewed the scenery. But that was an easy one for me. I was oh, this is good. This is another one of those ones like Roadhouse where I'm I just get so many fucking movies, but damn, how did I miss this one?
Did you watch? Are you a fan of his earlier work, Mickey Rourke's
I
earlier
watched
stuff?
86 or 87 he came out with The Pope of Greenwich Village,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of a funny mafia movie.
Right.
Not a funny movie, kind of more of a campier not on purpose, like kind of funny mafia movie where he's a
Right.
little serious and he's like a maitre d for like a lot of restaurants, and he does weird jobs, and it's like that's not as good as like Sin City or The Wrestler, but
No.
it's like he's still charismatic. He doesn't look the same. Like young Mickey Rourke and old Mickey Rourke are like
Completely two different things.
fucking different people. Like in acting and like voice and how they carry themselves.
Yeah.
Like old Mickey Rourke's been through some shit.
Yes, he has. His face is.
I liked Iron Man too. I thought he was good at Whiplash.
Yeah, it was fine. I thought his role was fine.
Yeah, I thought that
It was
was not. I mean, just 3 was so bad that you're just like, I mean, how can you even
How
complain
can
about
you
2?
mess up? Oh man, Shane Black. How did you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my
It's
good.
good. It's a good one. That's a good one. I gotta go back and watch this too. I saw you watching it, and I
The
kinda
Wrestler?
wanna watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, watching it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
definitely.
It's interesting when he has to get that side job working at like a in the meat department at a grocery store, and he's just like, I fucking hate my life. I just hate this job.
There's a time like everyone had the same look, and I think Mickey Rourke had it back in the day. And like Vincent D'Onofrio, which if you don't know, guys, he wasn't always a fat guy. He was like a very sexy, like leading man back in the early '90s.
He goes back and forth.
He goes back,
He
yeah.
goes back and forth because in the
Yeah.
80s, remember when he's a pile and
He
like
was.
Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
He was like, he's chunky.
Yeah,
was
but
fun.
yeah, they all have this like weird look in that like early '90s. It was interesting. And now Vincent D'Onofrio looks like Kingpin, and Mickey Rourke looks like a lizard. I don't know. What would you?
Mickey Rourke looks like his character in Sin City.
Yeah, he's getting more and more
Yeah,
like
he's
that character.
he's like aging into it.
Unfortunately. All right, that's
But
your.
yeah, that's my first good. What's
that's
your
your good.
what's your follow up?
All right, my second good, and I was nervous because we talked about it. There's a video on it from WonderCon where we feature Asian American artists
Wow.
on our website. And I hate when I talk to creators and say, yeah, and then be like, oh, I hope this doesn't suck. It didn't suck. It didn't suck. American Born Chinese on Disney Plus wasn't too bad. It does fall into some of the tropes. It is like I want to preface this by saying this is probably like, if we're going like young adult,
Uh-huh.
this is good. Like, this is what I would like to see in young adult stuff. Like, not like your weird YA novels of like dystopian children like fucking everyone. Like, this is
Well, just
really,
like the bland like design too.
really good.
Everyone has the same design in all those YA novels.
Yeah, so American Born Chinese, based off of the comic and story from Jin Luen Yang. Just about a boy who runs into another Chinese boy in his class, and he's just trying to fit in. And that other Chinese boy happens to be the son of the Monkey King.
God,
And
what a twist.
yeah, what a twist. And essentially he helps his friend find the fourth scroll, which is an imaginary scroll, right? There's only 3 scrolls, but he's looking for the sacred fourth one. And it's pretty good. The only thing, there's moments where they look at the camera and they're like, huh? Where I'm like there's a moment where the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, because you're watching it through the perspective of the main character who... he's not a superhero. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's like helping his friend, and like I think the whole point was it trying to be like, yeah, even he could be the superhero. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then they had this moment where in the show, like tangentially, there's this '90s sitcom that's kind of having a rebirth into the 2023, and
weird.
it's like about a. It's about a repairman in a apartment complex, and that's where what's his name's character? Oh God, I can't think of his name from that movie that he just won an Oscar for.
Oh, you're talking about
Ke Kwan.
yeah, I was
Ke
just
Huy
saying
Quan,
short round.
Short round, yeah. Ke Kwan. He plays like this stereotypical character, and they had this. They got together and do like this 30-year reunion, and there was this moment where he's just like, anyone could be the superhero. I'm like, oh, you ruined it. You didn't have to look at the camera and just tell me.
They Scorsese'd in Departed.
They gave me the rat.
The
They gave me the
rat.
rat, and I'm just
you
all
never-
like, oh, you didn't have to do that. You're doing good for a little bit.
Can't break the illusion like that. You never go. You don't get that literal with your
But it
goddamn
wasn't bad.
analogy.
It wasn't bad. I I dug it. I dug
Oh,
it.
that's good. That's good. I'm
It's
glad it
it's
translated
not
well.
it's not the greatest of things, but if you're a fan of like the Jenny West, and there's this
But,
moment
yeah,
where
yeah.
like
It's a good one. The
like
Sayuki stories.
him and his friends are trying to help him, and he was just all like, well, why don't you do this or this or this, and he's just all like, well, haven't you read anything? And he mentions, he's like, yeah, man, fucking Dragon Ball Sayuki, like, I read them all, like, I know how the story ends, let's do this.
Yeah.
So they have this
You're
meta
not
moment
gonna twist
a little bit,
anything
yeah.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun. Mentioning Sayuki, that's like, who mentioned Sayuki in 2023, so that's rare.
Yeah, that's true. It's nice that Sayuki's still appreciated.
Yeah. But yeah, not bad.
That's cool.
Not great. Not like amazing.
Like, it's
but
not going to captivate
It's
you.
not going to captivate you.
But it's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's
Respect
my
that.
second good. All right. What's your?
I'm going to change it up into a bad.
Oh, you're going to go for bad.
I'm
Okay.
going to go for bad. I'll go 1 for 1 each each contrast to what you'll do.
Okay.
So I got that Julia show about it came out in 2022 about Julia Child,
Yes.
the cook that did like the French chef. That was a popular show in the 80s, and they rerun it a lot in the 90s. I'd watch it when I'd be like home from school, so I remembered it pretty vividly. But this show just was bad because it was starring Sarah Lancashire and David Hyde Pierce, and they're good actors. I enjoy them. The chemistry was good. The chemistry was good. The set design, all that stuff, great. But the writing was terrible. I did not like the writing. I did not like how they approached the scenes. They tried to make it very, very modern without even seeing how weird it was. Like, it was like she was swearing a lot. At one point, she was talking about, like, in, like, as a joking, like, way in a dinner conversation about getting fucked, and it was just so fucking cringy.
Right.
I was like, I don't like this. I didn't, and I got through all of it. I still watched the whole series, but I just deleted afterwards. I was like, I'm not coming back to this.
Wasn't having it.
Yeah. David I. Pierce was, like, their acting was good.
David I. Pierce.
Like,
okay.
as Niles returning in his kind of, like, that's how he always acts. David Hyde Pierce is just Niles Crane.
Damn it, Niles.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to pretend. The only thing that made it enjoyable is that every moment I would, like, look away and I'd pretend that this was a shared universe with Money Plane, and that was the brother of Emmanuel Grouch III, better known as the Rumble.
Yes.
So I thought it was Kelsey Grammer's, like, brother again. So I would that's the only way to salvage it, is you pretend that. But even then, it's not worth watching.
No.
That illusion doesn't hold it enough. So that's a pass. That's a big pass on that one.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
I want more good things about cooking.
I thought it was going to be like a kind of like a dark comedy, but instead it was just like they tried to make a modern comedy. And it was very strange. None of it fit. Like nobody seemed like who they'd be in that time frame. Yeah. It was kind of funny.
Weird balding David Hyde Pierce is interesting.
He has a very skeletal look. He's old. He still sounds the same and kind of moves the same, but his aging is the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Dude, if they reboot that, David Hyde Pierce?
Oh, yeah.
I'd watch him as the Crypt Keeper.
There you go. Let's see it.
Hell yeah. And every episode just stars Kelsey Grammer. He's just the main character in every plot. Just get it back together. All right, what's your final good?
All right, my final good. You ready for this?
I don't think I could be. I'm a little concerned.
You ready for this?
All right, lay it on me, buddy.
All right, here we go. My final good is RoboCop 3.
Oh, okay. You scared me for a second there because I thought you were going to say RoboCop the reboot.
Oh, no.
And that's where I was like, yeah, you're right. I fucking think you're crazy. And we're going to have to talk about this. Podcast over.
But people feel the same way about RoboCop 3 as they do about that remake, I feel.
All right. Let me get real with you. I'll get real with you real quick about RoboCop 3.
Okay. Come on.
I love RoboCop 3.
Okay. All right. We're on the same page.
Hopefully that doesn't ever leave this room, but I love RoboCop. That scene with the jetpack? All right,
the jetpack.
Okay, child Danny loves RoboCop 3. I probably would go back and watch RoboCop 3 and agree that it's a bad movie, but I have that memory intact. That nostalgia
is a bad movie.
There.
It is a bad movie.
It is agreeably a bad movie, but I love the nostalgia and the fun of RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
That jetpack scene alone is pivotal and holds to me forever. Like, they even played the original score. It was the John Williams score. The
yeah,
and he's
they did play the score. I think it wasn't John Williams who did
it wasn't
this one.
Oh no! Is that Vangelis, right?
It is.
March of the Chariots, like is that or
Well,
Chariots of Fire?
let's see. I think he did the first one, but I'm saying three specifically. I don't think he did.
I thought they would maybe they might have reused the John Williams or the Vangelis
Yeah, I figured
cut.
they would just use.
Yeah, at that point. Well, it's like Star Wars. They used that.
Vangelis, yeah.
Yeah. So it was Vangelis.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what. I
Um,
nice.
Frank Miller wrote this. Did you know that?
He specifically wrote
The screenplay.
screenplay
Yes.
to
RoboCop 3.
RoboCop 3.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of wild. Actually, that's funny. I like that. What a weird like Kevin Bacon moment for him.
Right? Oh, man.
Okay, I mean it still doesn't fit to his writing style,
Right.
but I would have never guessed that.
So, of course, Paul Verhoeven did not direct this one. It was directed by Fred Decker.
Yeah. No, this had no. 2 wasn't Verhoeven either.
No.
Verhoeven was like a
He was
producer, right?
Yeah.
I think on this, and in this, he's like an executive producer, which is like he's just slowly fading into the background. That's what happens with these series.
This is also not Peter Weller as RoboCop. It's
No.
Robert John Burke
No, yeah.
plays it, who was in Tombstone, The Thinner. And
That's a good one. I forgot about that.
Rip Torn's in this. He plays
Yes.
like the CEO.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's strange, but he fits.
Yeah,
It's just
great.
always funny when you see him.
I like that
'cause he
part at
always plays
the
that
end where
character.
he just leave where the main like dude is just like, where are you going? And he's just all like, you could have the company. It was just such a weird. He just goes, hey, you could have it. And
He
then
has
he walks
that,
off like so weird.
that kind of like Men in Black moment, like intergalactic kegger.
Yeah, such a weird line. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he is good for that. He fits those roles because he can be comedic, but also still play the
Yeah.
CEO. He can play the boss. He can play all that. So that's why it's always funny when you see him.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I like RoboCop. What made you want to watch RoboCop? And why had you not seen it?
I just was like, I want to see Japanese robots with katanas fight another robot.
Two Japanese,
twin,
identical twin Japanese katana
Yes.
with their weird like servos that are like delayed.
Yeah.
Their movements all
They're like,
over animated too much. They move even worse than RoboCop. Like,
Otomos is what they're called, the Japanese androids.
remember, you could tell like one of them apart because like they broke the face on one of them, and as a kid that always was very analogous. No, it just threw back to the Ninja Turtles game where you had to fight the 2 Shredders at the same time because I played that around the same time, and I was like, oh no, RoboCop, you gotta kill the right one first. You have to start the boss fight over. So funny. Yeah, that's nostalgia all the way in that RoboCop 3. That's a good choice.
They kill off his partner in this.
Oh, and it's not the same actress.
And it's not this.
No.
Is it not?
No, from 1. I think they change her over in 2, and then they kill off that actress in 2 and 3. The one from 2 that's new. I believe. But I may be wrong.
But yeah, all I'm saying is, if you hated on RoboCop 3 back in the day, give it another try. Give it another try. I'm telling you, it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad. I'm sorry, it's bad, but it's highly enjoyable.
I'm gonna put like an annotation of what Kyle said and said it is bad, and if you didn't like it back in the day, you will still not like it. But if you, for some reason, you liked it, it held a soft spot for you because you're like, it's fucking RoboCop and he's got a jetpack.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll still hold up to an extent.
Yeah.
If you come at it right, you gotta approach it with the right mindset. Maybe the right level of inebriation. Who knows? There's a lot of things that'll add to that movie, but I mean, it's not RoboCop 1. It's not like pure Verhoeven.
No.
It's just like a Verhoeven after birth that you get a little bit of nostalgia kick for it, and you won't know it's Peter Weller because he's wearing a fucking mask.
He has a mask.
And when they take it off, he's like all fucked up and bald. So it's just like, oh, okay, you look just like Peter Weller. And you're just a fucked up old bald white guy. They all look the same.
Yeah, that was it was good. I enjoyed that. What about you? What's your last? What is it? Ugly?
It's an ugly,
okay,
and it's kind of a good ugly in the sense of like it's enjoyable, but it's a gritty movie, and it's the Zero Theorem.
Okay.
by Terry Gilliam, the famed Monty Python performer.
Yes.
And this is one of his movies. Easy way to preface it right away would be it is Johnny Mnemonic meets Brazil.
Okay.
Essentially Brazil, because that's also one of my favorite Terry Gilliam joints, which is his take on 1984. So this pepper in that style, that kind of grittiness. It's led by Christoph Waltz. He's the star. He is very much kind of like a Johnny Mnemonic character.
Right.
His life and how he lives it and how he does things is very akin to that. But man, it's gritty. It's rough to look at. Like, it's very sweaty, very like a lot of like. You want to talk about like David Hyde Pierce looking bad, like the way that they made Christoph Waltz look like he was a leukemia survivor or something, in the realms of like he had come from a terminal condition and got back to his life through like most of the movie. And so it's very tough to look at. It's very challenging, but his performance is phenomenal. His like a way he like immerses himself into the scenery and what's happening. You know what? There's a good way to look at this. It's like a yin and yang situation where like one end would be her, and then this would be like the ugly version of her. And you get a little bit of that because there's a lot of AI, and he does develop a friendship / relationship with an AI at one point too. So that's like a plot device.
Okay.
That reminded me a lot of her, and how ugly it was kind of reminded me why it was like an antithesis to it, because her is very clean. I like her, but it's also, that movie is very neat. You could not put that movie in a category called ugly.
Right.
You couldn't.
Right.
So this is like fits perfectly in it. I liked it. It was a good movie. I'm glad that fucking Terry Gilliam is still doing shit. Like, holy shit, man.
Right.
Like, this guy's been making movies for like 40 years. And even then he was already like old, so.
Peter Stormare's in it too.
Oh yeah, there's a good
like
medley. Matt Damon is like a recurring character, and he kind of reminded me of like Ashton Kutcher in Vengeance a little bit, because he has some good monologues, but it's still kind of funny, because he's also like Matt Damon with like bleached white hair.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little silly, but and his roles are not he's not as pivotal. Tilda Swinton's in, she's like kind of looks so funny. She's not, you kind of forget it's her. But no, it all rests heavily on Christoph Waltz. The movie's very focused on him. The cast is very isolated. He rarely leaves his house, and when he does, it's like the outside world is just gritty and rough.
I'll have to check it out.
This is like cops. Like,
it does look very lived in, which is good.
Oh yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah,
I like that. I don't like sets. I think that's the problem. Going back to Indiana Jones, which is a big failure. Another summer failure this week, by the way. Failure. That just didn't, like, you go from like the third one that just looked lived in, and then you go to the fourth, the Crystal Skull, where it's just bright and nothing looks real.
Well, yeah, like set design. We were talking about this with Dungeons & Dragons. Was like Kevin Baker or something,
right?
That was like doing the set design for those movies. So like that's a lost craft that these new movies won't even try. Like modern Dungeons & Dragons was just all CG. So I assume this did more of that, but with even like more despondent Harrison Ford. Because like Harrison Ford has been noticeably despondent in the movies he's done for a while.
Right.
The first time I caught on to it was before Star Wars, Force Awakens. It was I liked Cowboy and Aliens, but Cowboy and Aliens had like a really kind of Harrison Ford phoning it in. Like Daniel Craig seemed more animated than him, and that's wild to me.
Right.
It's fucking wild. Like he's more live. Luckily that movie had such a big cast that saved the movie. But like I can't imagine Harrison Ford being even remotely excited in this movie at all, or any of his indie lines. Like Crystal Skull, he seemed mad when he was in the movie.
He's grumpy.
Yeah, so like this, did he injure himself any? I wonder.
It's a good question.
I wonder if he like paralyzed or like sprained an ankle again, and they had to like postpone this movie for another like 3 months.
Right.
Because he tried to walk too fast.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's my ugly.
Nice. Good choice. Good choice. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this 90s anime, Danny. Anime Expo's upon us. All these kids, they don't understand, insert like screaming at clouds and whatnot. But we're here to talk about when we talk about 90s anime, we're specifically talking about pre-digital animation, before the computer has made a big, prevalent appearance.
Even though
been a mainstay.
It still kind of impacts it in a minimal sense. There's still a lot of these things still were touched by computers, but there was so much hand done prior to that and outlining it that that's lost now.
Cell
that's gone.
painting, yeah, you're not getting that anymore.
Unless you're on like a Miyazaki joint or something,
Right.
You're not gonna get that. It's gone.
Not at all. Any 90s anime stand out to you? What's on your list of 90s
You want to do this
anime?
like a 1-for-1 again, like we did?
Yeah,
with,
we could do
like,
this for a 1-for-1.
like the martial arts. We'll
Yes. Okay.
We'll do like we'll start from like what we feel is like the number one to like what we feel is still impactful, but the least of that.
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's see. What will we'll kick this off with? You know what? I'll start with my least impactful one, but one I like the most. My number 5 would be the Ninja Scrolls movie.
Ninja Scrolls
The
movie.
1993
Yes.
animated Ninja Scrolls Japanese movie.
Okay.
It was specifically the Ninja Scrolls movie and not the TV show because I didn't enjoy the TV show and the animation in it as much. I did like Basilisk, which is the same kind of thing, and that was done better. But the Ninja Scrolls movie, the way they did martial arts, and I saw this in probably 1996 or something, really young. Like, the way they did martial arts in that in an animated sense was like, I'd never seen it flow like that. I'd never seen weapons flow like that. I'd never seen like blood and bodies explode like that. Like, the way they used the hand-drawn art to illustrate the speed and the violence and all that at once, just like breaking down at like breakneck speeds, was really impressive. It was captivating. I had seen like fight movies, like some of the Dragon Ball Z movies that had fighting that was fast and captivating, but none of them were animated as fluid as that. Like, just remember in the opening fight. No, not the opening fight between the main character, Jubei, when he's fighting that guy with the double-bladed sword who's made out of stone. The way the sword flies around and cuts through things, like, that was... I had not seen that before. The way he fought the blind samurai and the way the petals float around him from the cherry blossoms. That was a watershed moment for me. So, like, that was the first time I'd watched an anime movie and been completely enthralled, like with just the art style. Because normally they're kind of cardboardy, like Speed Racer. You go back, and
right?
Even my mom would be like, when I was watching Dragon Ball, she's like, "Was this from the '70s?" She's like, "You watch Gotcha Man again?" And I'm like, "Actually, Mom."
You will actually, your mom?
Yeah, I was like, this ain't fucking Gotcha Man, all right? Hold on, Mom. Post this on a forum so I can get mad. But that's Ninja Scrolls 1993.
Ninja Scrolls 1993.
The film, the motion picture.
Nice. I am going to start with not Macross, specifically Robotech.
Okay.
So Robotech is Macross, Super Dimension Fortress, and what else? It's like three series.
It's like
essentially kind of crammed together.
Yeah, because there's like a problem with the rights and like all the different people who are owning it and what you could call it here, but what you could call it in Japan. So like that's why there's so many. This happened with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like Captain Harlock and Battleship Yamato. They all have. Saint Seiya, what we talked about last time, was
Saint Seiya.
They called it, was it Knights of the Zodiac here? So.
But yeah, I watched Robotech first before I didn't even realize that like Macross was something completely different.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, but yeah, I think this was like even before. I'm trying to think, like probably around the same time that I was like watching like any like Super Sentai or like Power Rangers stuff. So like it was the first time I saw like, but even before Gundam, I think probably, I saw like just like space and tech and all that.
Like the robot part
and
would
the robot
catch me
part.
right away.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, what?
Robots, man, big robots. I mean, what's better than like aliens coming to Earth and then you reverse engineering tech to create crazy robots.
Well, I mean, Robotech was one of those staples in Macross in general. For like, if you like mech anime, that's gonna be one that'll appeal to you in some way if you go throughout the timeline. And
True.
Yeah.
You can do space folding. That's cool. You can fold space in Macross. You don't see that in Gundam.
No, you don't. You don't. And it's like I do enjoy Gundam. I do enjoy Gundam, but there's some love for Robotech and Macross.
Yeah, I love it, and I highly recommend it. But watch Macross, yeah. I wish they didn't do that as much in the 90s, where they just took things and kind of mashed them together into one thing, or created a completely different thing, or made it completely into a child's
Like,
show that wasn't necessarily a child's
oh
show.
yeah, the four
Something like
kids,
that.
four kids
Force
dub the
Kids
things, the
does
thing,
that,
yeah, but also like dovetailing them to things that aren't even technically connected. So people
Yeah.
are like, this second season really makes no sense, and I'm like, you watch it 2 shows, bro.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different television series that you're tricked into thinking in the same world. It's like Super Mario 2. You got flim-flammed.
So we got Super Dimension Fortress, we got Macross 7, Macross Frontier, Macross Delta. We got all the films. Do You Remember Love, Motion Edition, or Movie Edition, Macross Plus, Macross 7 the movie.
Macross Plus is on my list.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh.
It's number 3.
Wow. All right, we'll get to that. That's going to be good. That's my... all right. I guess this is tech. I would say Macross Plus is probably definitely better. I kind of
In the 90s?
I kind
Of
of
the
just put
movies?
Macross in general.
I
together.
would say the fucking the level the violence got to in the cockpit violence.
Yes.
Like, this is what I don't have any other Gundams on my list, but I'll talk when we get to that one. The violence in that one is what surprised me the most, and how they showed it from the pilot's perspective. And that's why I was like, whoa, you can animate shit that crazy?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
But yeah, that's a good number. That was your number 4?
It's number 5.
Or 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're number 4.
Okay. Mine is X the movie.
X, yeah.
Or X99.
Yeah.
Or just X. They call it X99. It came out in 96. So
yeah.
So it's already kind of funny if you look at the different
Right.
titles for it. But the way they animated it was cool because it looked like a comic book. It looked like a comic book come to life. Like,
Yeah.
They had much harder edges that I was not used to seeing in some anime movies. And the way they used them, and like how the characters felt tall and lengthy, and like when they extended swords, it felt like it had real depth to it. I liked the art style in that. That was one of those ones that I randomly caught on like I think our illegal cable pirate box. We had like I think Showtime or something. They had like an anime stream that was going on the weekend, and I just put it on, and I was like, "What's this?" I watched it. It was like way crazy violent, but it was also like super over the top, like superhero fighting. So they were like leaping from buildings. So it was a fun fantasy kind of movie, but I had no idea what the story was saying. Like I couldn't follow it, but the artwork kept me going. Like the art style, like it was just flipping through a comic book you pick up at a newsstand, and just you're like, oh, this is weird. Like I don't know the story, but like these pictures are cool, and so like this got me into the series just from just how well it was drawn and how unique their style was compared to a lot of other animes I hadn't seen. 'Cause
Yeah.
now when I go back and look at it, it's reminiscent of like the evolution of what the Apex was from the 80s anime style. So the art style that they perfected 10 years prior to that essentially was still living on in this kind of, you could say, time capsule of a of a movie, of a series. Because the TV show itself or any of the mangas, like they're okay, but the movie, I felt like the production quality was a little bit higher, notably in the budget they had.
Yeah.
And it's much more encapsulated in one thing. The series kind of drags on. It's very droney. It's like a Boogie Pop Phantom. It's more of a noir style kind of anime. But no, X the Eliminated.
X gonna give it to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
1996 is 1999's X the movie.
X gonna give it to you. Let's do this.
Oh.
All right, my next one is the original Berserk.
Oh shit. Okay, that's a good one.
So I dig this. I think I just love this so much because new Berserk is just so garbage.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Specifically from the point of art style alone.
Yeah.
Just objectively on that, night and day trash.
And it's rough. It's really rough. There's like a flatness to it that I really like. I love guts in that. Everything about it. I like the pacing of it. I wish that kept going. I wish that version of what Berserk was kept going.
And they held that kind of style, and that would have been like one of the greatest series. It would be like a Dragon Ball kind of thing.
It would. I really think it would have been on that level if it just kept that same animation, kept the same pacing of it. But no, we just got a little bit of it, went away.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that CGI nightmare.
Well, even when they came back with the Golden Age arc, which those 3 OVAs, those are good, but that was the first sign of trouble. Because then he gets to a battle where there's a lot of people, and all the people go from being hand-drawn to like CG, complete, just rendered, fucking copy and paste over and over again people.
Yes.
And you're like, what's happening? And they're still using the good artwork on Guts or Griffith or whoever's the main character at that point being focused on Casca, you know? So, like, there are these moments that are aggressively put up against each other in, like, a weird backdrop that you notice, and you're like, this is not flowing. This is putting me off. Like, I kind of feel like you're punishing me for watching this. What have I done to you, Berserk? I liked you.
What have you done?
Yeah. But original, like, old school, a fantasy series with that level of polish, right? Because I guess Record of Lotus War was a little older than that. Original Slayer's a little older than that. So that was probably the newest and highest level watermark, which was nice because we at least got that. It would have been great to get the whole series to the end. Well, but yeah. Now it's like the end. Who knows what it will be?
Yeah.
Miura is dead. And his, like, people who were following in his footsteps trying to finish it, but who knows? Maybe the story will wrap up in a bad way, and we'll be like, why didn't Berserk just stay over at that early arc?
Right?
Maybe it going on into ad nauseum was not a good thing. But good choice.
All right, yeah. What's your next one?
Macross Plus.
Macross Plus, all right.
Yeah, it was, what came out in 1995, Macross Plus. It was one of those mecha series that was... okay, so when I watched this, it was probably about... probably like the end of like 1999, so about to go in 2000. I had downloaded it. It took me like probably a couple weeks, but I wanted to check it out because it was one of the newer Macross movies that I could find. I think at the time it was still like one of the newest. They had like I think a few OVAs and things they put out, but this was probably one of the newer feature-length Macross movies at that moment. And so when I was watching that, and like we were still getting like edited Gundam series on Toonami and shit, when I watched that, I was like blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, everything that's happening, the quality, all of this is just like, it's like a fucking roller coaster. And so I really enjoyed getting to experience Macross in that way for the first time. It wouldn't be years later until like Frontier that I'd circle back for it. And it was like, oh man, I missed you, Macross. This is so good. You're always so good. And they do plus in an OVA format where it's 4, but I think the theatrical, the quality is notable and like the intensity is way more amped. But yeah, that one. And I just like, there are so many good Gundam movies, so they kind of all like bleed together. But this was the one from the 90s of Macross that stood out. It's like with Gundam, if I had to pick a 90s Gundam movie that had good animation that I liked, like I would be, there's just like, I couldn't decide on like 6 of them. But with Macross, it's easy. I'm like, oh yeah, the Plus came out in like 95, and that one was really good in the 90s. Like its style, its overall like just soundtrack approach because they always have that opera theme and that kind of thematic going on.
I remember that.
Everything is a space opera with Macross, and and I love it.
It's an epic,
an
epoch, if you will.
Oh yes, indeed.
Nice. All right, my next one. It came out in '97, but it didn't use any CG really, and honestly, his later films that do use a lot of CG are really good. He uses CG really well, and this movie is Perfect Blue by Satoshi Kon.
Shit!
I wanted to put Satoshi Kon in this. I probably would have put his other film because it's so much. I like it way much better. But it has a lot of CG and like weird, like crazy visual effects. So that was out. But Perfect Blue is great. It's his first film. It's Satoshi Kon's first film. It's engaging. Like it involves like murder, and it's the you know, if you ever seen like a Satoshi Kon project, it gets really weird, really psychological
thriller all the way. Like it's 100%. It's reminiscent of like Single White Female or like, but it's all very much in a person's head. But then there are like fans and like stalkers and people in the series as well. So it's like you're like, is this person real or is this person in her head? And you most of the time you can't tell. And that's the great part of the suspense in that in Perfect Blue is you're never sure. You never can get comfortable with the movie.
That's the
but
thing.
It'll keep you.
It keeps you on edge.
It keep you on edge and
keeps you
focus.
guessing.
Yeah, hyper focus.
Yeah, which I really love, and you get that throughout a lot of his work, especially like what was that TV show he did later with all the laughing kids as the intro?
The Paranoia Agent.
Paranoia Agent.
A good series. I like that.
Yeah, that one is also good. Yeah.
It is very cerebral, but it is good.
Yeah. Definitely. And I can't.
Remember the AMV Hell parodies of the Paranoia Agent? Those were good.
Yes,
those were good.
Those are great. Those are great. I'm thinking of what was I? Paprika.
Oh, Paprika was a great movie.
Yeah.
Paprika was a
But that has a lot of CG. That's the one that has
a lot of CG.
Weird visual effects and trippy
watched
things.
That movie for the first time on LSD. First time I watched that movie, I was on LSD. Yeah, I was on LSD when I watched it. It was very intense. Thomas was there, and we were just hanging out, and he just it's funny. We were just chilling, and I was just like, I didn't even plan to hang out with him. I just was gonna do the LSD, watch the movie, and then he showed up, and I was like, hey, buddy. It's funny shit. But I've watched that movie several times since. Paprika's phenomenal. They're both good. The Perfect Blue, Paprika, he's a powerhouse.
Everything from Satoshi Kon, I love. Definitely check it out. But check out Perfect Blue if you haven't. What's your next one?
Okay, so my number 2 is an anthology movie called Memories. Are you familiar with this? It's a 3-part anthology. It's 3 different separate stories. Came out in 1995. They're all kind of sci-fi, fantasy, on the heavy fictional end, and they're very stylized. Each of the 3 has their own art style, narrative, writing feel, all of it. So they're very unique, but they're all one movie. And even though they're separate, you can still watch them back to back, and they all fit. Each story individually is very unique. One is more in space. One is more of a post-apocalyptic kind of end-of-the-world situation that springs up in everyday life, and then one's more about a dark abysmal kind of future that's more Orwellian. So I would say if anyone has never come across Memories, the animated movie, came out in 1995, sit down and watch that. I watched that much later in my life. It's more recent that I've actually watched that, but in 1995 when it came out, this thing was a powerhouse amongst the anime movie genre in general. Yeah, I feel to this day a lot of people look at it and go whoa, how did people overlook this? Because we remember a lot of those movies vividly growing up when we came across them, but this was one you had to kind of dig for, and got kind of lost in time, and it was unfortunate because it was really good quality. Do you remember one from the 80s called Neo Tokyo?
Yes. That one I remember.
Boom! This is the 90s Neo Tokyo.
Okay.
It's 100% the 90s Neo Tokyo. So much to the point that I thought that they were around each other's time. I kept getting them confused. I thought Neo Tokyo came out in the 90s, but that's 89.
Oh.
Yeah, Neo Tokyo is older, and it's definitely the better of the 2, but still, this one's good. This one's really, really good. You would love the second story called Stink Bomb.
Okay.
And it's about this just really generic Japanese businessman that works at a Japanese pharmaceutical company, and he gets exposed to this unique virus that anyone around him, when they smell him, he stinks really bad.
Yes.
And after they smell him, they die.
Okay.
But first they're like, what is that smell? And then a few minutes later, and he's walking around and he doesn't understand. He's just what are people talking about? And it's just the ad nauseum and monotony of him being said. That's the one you'll probably like the most of the 3. But check out Memories.
Okay.
Please check it out. I'm so sad that it's so hidden.
Okay.
It's a gem.
I will check it out. All right. My number 2. Right? Are we on number 2?
Yeah, that'd be your number 2,
right?
And then my 1 and your 1.
Okay. Yeah. My number 2, I wanted to put an isekai on the list.
What could it be from the 90s?
So I was going. I was originally, and that was on this place, was Vision of Escaflowne.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
But I decided to go with Fushigi Yugi as my
Whoa.
isekai choice.
Okay. That's
Both
unique.
of them, honestly, they're kind of both on the same level. But I think
Escaflowne is there.
I think that I appreciated Fushigi Yugi more at the time. I think I watched it more as a kid, more so than Escaflowne.
Fushigi Yugi, you forget a lot quicker that it's an isekai, and Escaflowne
Yeah.
with the main character and how she carries herself, it's just like Kagome and Inuyasha later on.
Yes.
Like that kind of style.
Exactly.
You never forget. You're just like, oh, you're totally displaced.
Yes.
And Fushigi Yugi, the main character that just blends into the isekai pretty quickly.
Yes.
And the art style is very unique in Fushigi Yugi. I think it's better in the Escaflowne movie especially, but Fushigi Yugi's TV show, art is much better.
What's her name in Escaflowne? I forget the name's character, but her lips are all. You know how she has the like big like bubbly lips.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So it always threw me
didn't-
off as a kid.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah. But yeah, if you don't know, Fushigi Yugi, it's a traditional isekai, so it's a girl who reads a book, goes into a fantasy world. It's none of this MMO nonsense.
She's not leveling up.
We're not
her
going into
cooking
the
skill.
metaverse here. No, this is fantasy girl love. And Chinese princes, man.
Yeah,
Sexy Chinese
it's
princes.
Reverse hair on them. Fushigi Yugi's still good because it's funny. And the
Yeah.
action's not too bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of martial arts and stuff, and traditional Chinese martial arts fighting styles and weapon fighting styles.
Yes.
Like Fushigi. That's just a fun classic. I remember when Zach showed it to me.
That's funny.
We just got ripped and watched the whole season in one day.
Going back, I want to go back real quick to Perfect Blue for a second. Did you know that Darren Aronofsky is rumored to be trying to speak to Satoshi Kon
to do a
to get
Perfect
the
Blue
rights?
live action.
To do,
adaptation?
yes.
I could watch that.
Yes.
I could get behind that. That'd be cool.
Oh, wait, hold on. It says he abandoned the purchase of the rights due to various reasons.
Well, it's like DiCaprio and his attempts to make a cure for so long.
Yeah.
What if Aronofsky rebooted his attempts to make Perfect Blue, casting the main character as DiCaprio dressed in drag? There you go.
Yeah.
That would
there you
anger
go.
people, right?
There you go. All right. What's your final?
Oh, this
baby?
is easy. This is easy. To ending out the 90s, I'm gonna give you Princess Mononoke as my number one.
You going? Okay.
Princess Mononoke.
Mononoke.
That's my favorite Miyazaki. That's my favorite animated movie from the 90s. That's anime specific. I like the way that they draw. I know Miyazaki's aggressive in how he does his art and how he puts time into every drawing, every piece of it. Everything gets drawn by him, and then renders in. Like he says, this is what I need the scene to look like, and he draws it all out. And then they go and then they do what they can with it. And sometimes he directly has his hand in it, but everything is getting like visually represented in Miyazaki's visions, or in real time, in physical time, by him in some way. And that bleeds into everything in fucking Princess Mononoke. It has detail. Every character, every little background, like little leaf and just arbitrary branch and forest spirit jumping around and bird just fluttering by. The weird thing is that because they're all a lot of them are animals, so the random animal cleaning and things they do on themselves in the background movie, but it's like all of that attention to detail is visually represented in what is usually an overwhelming task for an animated movie. That's a lot of budget. That's a lot of time. I mean, sure, Ghibli can do it because they're a powerhouse, and Miyazaki's got that fervor, but still, like, he could have been lazy. It could have been very blocky and very plain and flat, and none of it ever felt that way. It always felt very fluid. It flowed very well. It almost, in many ways, I could say it's the opposite of what I got from X, because X was a very stoic kind of art style, and it did not.
Yeah, I get that.
It did not bleed as well with like the scenes and like when people were moving around to like shot to shot. This, it's just like everything floats so smooth, just so smooth.
Super smooth.
Yeah. The fighting always felt so light. Nothing, even though like Destruction, it never felt like the characters were like weighed down by gravity. Especially remember when his arm is like flexing with that weird demon infection. He's pushing the door open. Like just the weight on his hair like starting to rise and his clothes and everything like fluttering up a little bit. It like when you do it in Dragon Ball Z, it always felt flat. It was cool to look at, but it's like, you know, the repeated little like dust and lightning scenes playing in loop real quick. It's like that's a flat. No, Miyazaki eats lightning and dust. Like reactions different.
Water, food, like textures. He does really good 2D animated textures so well.
Yeah. Every character feels unique. when he had all those ladies that were standing on the other side of the furnace that they were working on together, and he was working opposite of them, and each one of them was like moving and fidgeting and reacting in their own unique way, and had their own unique character design that stood out. Everything feels special, and nothing ever feels like repetitive in a Miyazaki flick.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what made it stand out to me overall. Is
Beautiful
that
film.
it is 100% like a snowflake of the decade.
And Billy Bob Thornton's in the dub.
Billy Bob Thornton, Vivica A. Fox, right?
Yeah.
And then, gosh, who else was it Jada Pinkett Smith in it?
Maybe.
Yeah, Jada was in it, I think. And then, gosh, there was another actress who was very famous at that time who was also in it. That girl from American Pie.
English dub.
That didn't die. And not Nadia. Not Shannon Elizabeth.
Not Shannon Elizabeth.
And not the other girl that OD'd and died.
Okay.
Tara Reid. Not Tara Reid, not that. And not that Latasha girl.
Billy Crudup. Okay.
I can't remember, but it was... She was in...
Claire Danes?
I think it was Claire Danes.
Claire
Was it?
Danes.
No. Oh, but okay,
She's
I
in
mistaked her with it.
It is Jada Pinkett
you know
Smith.
what I'm thinking of? Is in Advent Child. Final Fantasy 7 Advent Child. The girl that did the voice of like Tifa in it or whatever was that girl from American Pie. But yeah, Claire Danes was... Yeah, that's funny.
Nice. Keith David's in this.
Yeah, Keith David. Oh,
He's the
yeah.
narrator.
Yeah.
And additional voices.
The main character has the most forgettable voice. But he fit.
Yeah, Billy Crudup. Poor Billy Crudup.
That's who it was?
Yeah, it's Billy Crudup.
Oh.
What has he been up to besides not being in
anything?
I
right
mean,
now?
he was Dr. Manhattan. He was he was the
the
Flash's dad.
In the movie that just happened?
Not the new one.
Oh.
He didn't do that one. He was in the
I was
the
about to
last
say, no
one.
fucking way.
The Snyder verse one.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's not canon, so who cares, Kyle?
But it
Who
kind of
cares?
is because no one has.
Oh, you're going against the narrative.
Sorry. All right, we'll move on.
You're worse than Hitler.
All right.
But yeah, what's your number one?
All right, my number one. I tried to stay away from Miyazaki. I wanted to do something that everyone still knows, though, but a little different. Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
Ghost in the Shell.
First original movie. Yeah, that's like what, 92?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's more the concept at the time. Really loved the idea of just consciousness is conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me try this again. Consciousness.
The conscientiousness.
The consciousness. Just the concept of like being a ghost in the shell, like moving your conscious from the body. Like, are you a real human? Or is your body mechanical?
It's a love letter to Appleseed.
Yeah.
I would have put Appleseed on this list, but it's 80s.
It's 80s, yeah.
And the new Appleseed was just CG. That came out in, I think, 2001, so that wouldn't
Somewhere
make it
around
either.
there. We were in high school, I think.
Yeah,
when
it's
came
weird.
out.
It's like night and day, but yeah, that early 90s Ghost in the Shell was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Really
I
wild
agree.
to
I loved
push
it.
the
I
limits
loved
of
it.
what visual
It was
hand-drawn art
dark
could do.
too. Like the colors were like dark and grim, like in a way kind of similar to Akira,
Yes.
where I didn't see that
Music
as
wise
much. Yeah.
was similar.
Yeah.
Very droney, very
Exactly.
very like Asian, Indian influence.
Yeah, I just everything about it really got me into like kind of the idea of like futurism and like thinking of like things and like how we could like use technology to take our consciousnesses to
Pop
other
culture
places.
kind of started to build on that really
Yeah.
well because you got, like I talked about earlier, Johnny Mnemonic, and then the Matrix
Mnemonic
movies
and the
coming out of all that
Matrix.
stuff. So everything kind of played it. Even in the anime scene, like remember the Animatrix? That was the influence to that.
Remember
for the
Lawnmower
Wachowskis.
Man?
Oh god! All right, dude, Lawnmower Man 1 and 2 are on the server. Of course, I remember Lawnmower Man. That movie made me uncomfortable in a lot of ways, but it was
boy.
Why do I even have those movies? I wonder. I don't even have good nostalgia for those movies. Maybe because of how the audacity of them. I think they're definitely.
Yeah, they're pretty out there.
Those digital bees scared me as a kid when they killed that. Like it was like a government agent or like a detective, and they just like swarmed him. And he raped her digitally too. That was uncomfortable when they were both like avatars online, and he was just like getting behind her like. I was like, whoa, this is too much. I think I understand enough about what's happening to know that is fucked up.
What do you think of Standalone Complex or the 2.0 movie?
The 2.0 movie's good. Not as good as the first one, and not as good as Standalone Complex. Standalone Complex is good. First season with the Laughing Man and all the nods and allusions to J.D. Salinger and all that stuff.
Right.
I love his work. I love that shit. I've loved that shit so much for so many years. I go back and watch that. It is like a classical anime in like musical form, but visually. And second gig was the season afterwards, the second follow-up series. Did not like it as much, but still was really good and fun, and still was a nice little end to it. Didn't live up to the expectations, but still got me through it. All the CG stuff after it is like forgettable. It turned into what Appleseed became.
Yeah, it
like,
got all CG and all that shit.
They're all like video game cutscenes, and you're just there's no weight. I'm not emotionally invested in it. I feel just it's.
I love the animation of the Tachikoma mechs in the first one, and then the later ones it's just a CGI robot.
The giant tank Tachikoma boss.
Yeah.
In the first one, that's fucking. God damn, that was a good scene.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. Like I feel like for me, it's an easy one to use, Princess Mononoke, because for me right away. It's my favorite Miyazaki.
Yes.
Even though I admit all the other ones are really good and they're beautiful to be on, they'd be perfect on this list. But still, I just love that one so much. But when you came out with Ghost in the Shell, you brought a good point. Like that's the last bastion of like them not getting heavy on the digital end of it.
Yes.
You go to Ghost in the Shell 2, this is why it doesn't add up or doesn't live up to Ghost in the Shell 1. They get really lazy on those trippy mindfuck digital scenes.
Yes.
Where they're like, let's deal with the cyberspace of this. Oh shit, we're now getting just like really blocky and really lifeless, and there's no emotion. There's a ton of emotion in Ghost in the Shell 1. It's an emotional roller coaster ride of a movie.
Yeah.
And it is cerebral all over the place.
Yeah,
We're just like,
is.
Is this her real reality, or is she still in a dream? Is she in that coma? Did she ever get out of it? Like, who knows? But the visuals were all there to take you along that ride and question everything. Yeah, good choice, good list.
Good list. Maybe we'll come back and do an 80s one.
Oh,
that'd be cool. We'll
That'd
do
have to
like
be a
we
10er
should do a
on
high school one, like things we watched during high school.
Growing
That'd
up,
be a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll revisit this. But that will do it for this week. Anime Expo is still going on Monday and Tuesday. I might be there tomorrow, so come and say hi. I will maybe if I'm there or not. Who knows? But that'll do it. Check out our website, Free Speech Geek. We got stuff there. We got podcasts. We got stuff and more things. And what do you have to say, Danny? What do you want to leave the folks? Wait. What'd you learn today? I forgot about that. What did you learn today?
What I learned today is that with just a little bit of time and patience, you can make your coffee really speak to you in a way that harkens back to a time lost. You see, at Tweaks Coffee, we put a whole slice of life in. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but I wanted to go down that road.
All right, Tweaks Coffee. That poor kid.
That poor kid. It's practically garbage.
I don't know what I learned today. If you're going to use CG, make it look pretty. There you go.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Spend some time.
There's no more life in our anime. That's bad.
There's no life in anything. Everything's gone. Let's flip a table.
The computers have taken over, and anime is now made in an algorithm.
All right, let's put on that Gundam Seed Freedom trailer. Oh shit, we're out of here. All right, we are done. We're gonna call it there. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you love this podcast, we have a lot more content over at freespeechgeek.com. We have upcoming convention coverage, news about your favorite weeb shit. We also do in-depth takes like, are some fans more religious than Christians, Jews, and Muslims? Spoiler alert, yes, some of you crazy people are. All that and more over at freespeechgeek.com. Go check it out, you psychopaths.